Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Jess Hilarious is here, our co-host.
Yes.
Charlamagne is out for a couple of days. And let's get in some front page news. Morning, Teslin. Good morning.
Good morning, DJ NV. Good morning, Jess Hilarious. Congrats on meeting your mentor, I guess. Was that what you would call Dave?
Yes. Oh, my God. Dave Chappelle is one of the greatest mentors to have when you are a stand-up comedian.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, on this list every morning, we have a list of subjects that we discuss. And I bumped that list a little bit because I'm into this submarine. I don't know if y'all out there into this submarine.
You got me into it, too. You said they got 1 hour left.
They got 1 hour left.
Tez, you need to fill us in, mama.
Just a little filling if you can.
Please.
They got 1 hour left.
And you bumped it in. You bumped it in yesterday too, just for those who are listening. So just so people know, because and this is I'm glad you did bump it in because I do want people to know, like how this works when we're doing the front page news. So I'm in LA, as Envy likes to remind folks. So I'm up at 3 a.m. in the morning. So when we're getting these stories, whether it's this story or any other story, a lot of these stories I'm preparing the night before. And so the updates, when we're doing developing stories, whether it's on the submersible, whether it's on a mass shooting, anything that happens within the last 24 hours, I am depending upon information coming from the Associated Press the night before. And a lot of that information doesn't change because I'm literally up in the middle of the night when I come log in with you guys. So yesterday, just to do a quick update, we were talking about it not being a toilet on the submersible. And at that particular time, they did not report that there was a toilet. They had said that the 5 people standing that were on the submersible had to sit crisscross applesauce, that they couldn't even stand up. Dang. And so a lot of the analysts were saying, that they had to use the restroom in bottles. So getting off the air, just to make a long story short, getting off the air when another update came out with ABC saying that there was, some type of way to relieve themselves, and I believe it looks kind of like a porta kind of like a bedpan type of thing. So there's not a physical restroom, but there is something to relieve themselves. So I wanted to make that quick correction. But yes, 7:10 a.m. Is when they said they will be running out of oxygen on the submersible. Still a lot of crews out there trying to figure out what those sounds were. A lot of folks were saying, well, the ocean's not a quiet place, so you could be hearing sound from anywhere. But they said that the patterns is what they're finding encouraging. But again, no guarantee. They don't know what the sounds are. They're still trying to figure it out. They've been in close contact with the family, to just kind of let them know they're trying to keep hope alive. And then I just went on a deep dive with it, pun intended, on this story, and just saw a lot of folks who, this is not the first time that people have actually went down to the Titanic. Humans have done this before. And there was one guy that said when he went down that the submersible they were in got caught in the propeller, and it took them about 2 hours just to be able to remove themselves from the propeller. So this has happened before, but just as a point of clarity, whales don't even go down this deep. This is like the as deep as a Grand Canyon twice. So we're talking about a really, really deep in the ocean, and so we're just gonna keep seeing what happens.
And you don't know what's down there. You don't know if it's another type of species. You don't know. I be thinking different, like extraterrestrial type of stuff. I be thinking different.
That's what they were saying. They were saying when you go to a certain depth, there's like fish with like fangs. There's all these type of squids that are like 15 feet long.
You just never know what you can uncover under there. Like down there. We've never been down there. That's not even for human life.
Now, I know you want to jump into the store employee that calls cops on a black couple for buying high-ticket items. What happened in this situation?
Quickly, Bed Bath & Beyond is facing online backlash after staff at an Ohio store called the police on a black couple and accused them of shoplifting because they had too many high-ticket items in the cart. Lamar Richards asked why the police were called, and one of the workers asked the employee that called the police to join the conversation. Let's take a listen to the exchange and talk about it on the other side.
You called the police while we were still on this side of the store. We were here for over an hour. So you called the police when we first really got in here.
Okay, time out. I understand. We're coming up. I hear what you're saying.
Sure. Come on.
They want to know why they want to talk to the person who did it. And they want to know why they would basically what you're...
Yeah, while we were profiled, exactly. You called?
It's my right to do that.
It's your right to do what? Oh yeah, you hear right. So your right to do what?
It's my right to call.
Because you thought the 3 black people were shoplifting. Why?
They didn't say that.
You called the police and you said we have a potential shoplifting. So you did say that.
Yeah, see, I'm petty. See, what I would do is I would buy everything possible that my American Express can handle, and then I would return it all, or I would go home and I have a jar full of pennies and I would pay with pennies and I would make them count out every last goddamn penny in that mother effing store. And then after I buy it, then I would return it all. Like I would definitely, I would be that petty. I would want to put those workers and those people in such a problem, in a place of uncomfortability that they would never do that again.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, since Bed Bath & Beyond, a great idea for those who are looking for petty ways to do stuff. But in this case, Bed Bath & Beyond is closing. So all of their stores are closing on June 30th. So it is going to be a final sale. Yeah. And some of the Party Cities, just as FYI, is also closing, and the Bye Bye Baby stores. So a great idea. But in this case, there were final sales. And so I guess they were assuming, you know, that maybe people were being, you know, in their shoplifting. Now, this particular couple just bought a new home. So they came in and he went further on to say,
absolutely.
you know, this was a closing sale. You know, I didn't know I had to get, I could only get a certain amount of items. And I just want to give you a couple of facts. Let's see what the FBI says about shoplifting, because, you know, I love facts. 61% of property crimes, which include shoplifting, 61% were committed by white people, 32% by black people. So less than half of who's actually being arrested for shoplifting are black people. So that was a profiling gone wrong. And then just so folks know that people are not making this up, Case Western assistant professor did a study in New York on middle and working class black consumers. Out of 55 of those interviewed, 80% said they experienced microaggressions and being profiled as shoplifters. The microaggressions, just so people understand, that's when you're being followed around, if you're asking, you know, if you need any additional help, if you're being ignored, you know, those types of things. So this is a real thing. And the survey also showed that white employees were even found to profile black consumers. So this is a real thing. There's also a case study about this as well, and lawsuits where people have sued and won, you know, based on this type of profiling.
That's crazy that they was getting judged for buying too many high ticket items. Me and my boyfriend just went there and spent $741 because they are closing. So everything is like between 60 to 75% off.
Right.
Everything. So we're going to get high ticket, and nothing is high ticket. We're going to get high ticket items, low ticket items, everything. Like we almost spent $1,000 and got like so much stuff for the house because everything is like 75% off.
I just think it's so.
I don't understand that.
I don't think it's so sad because I don't think there's a black person or a minority person listening that hasn't been followed in the store before or hasn't felt disrespected, like their money doesn't matter, their money doesn't count when they go into a particular store. It could be there, it could be anywhere, it could be when they try to purchase a car. And I know we got to go, but one situation, I was a teenager and I was in one of these stores one time and my father was with me and me and my father, you know, I went one way, my dad went the other way. And my dad knew a security guy that was in there because it was my dad's ex-partner. And the guy was actually following me around and didn't know that I was my son. Yeah. And my dad was like, well, why are you following my son? Why are you following him? He was like, oh, nah, we just looking to make sure he's not stealing anything. So my dad was like, that's my son. But so that's what they do, which is sad, but very sad. And I'm sorry that couple had to go through that and deal with that. But hello, who's this?
This is Louie.
Hey, Louie, get it off your chest.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, honey.
So what I wanted to know was, in the form, the stupid form that we have to fill out when it's race, you have to put white, black, Hispanic, right? So when you guys talk about statistics, is Hispanics included in that white?
Oh, you talk about the shoplifters?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Tez on line one. Tez, can you click Tez on right fast?
Tez Lynn
You put Tez on?
Yeah, great question. And again, I guess since you have Ms. Hernandez on the show, that was one of the things that people were bringing up last week when she was arrested, that she identified as white on her. I don't know if you guys knew that, but she identified as white. There was a big thing going on as well. So people, according to the census, you can, if you're going to identify with being having Hispanic, and then what is your actual race? Some people identify as black, some people identify as white who come from, you know, who have an Hispanic origin. So that's a great question. And that was a big deal on last week because, you know, there was the conversation, I guess, that she was having about race with Amber Rose.
Oh,
yes.
And so people brought that up and said, well, wait a minute, you identifying as white. So great question. And that particular stat that I was using just to answer her question in the FBI, that particular one was saying black. So it could have been people who have, you know, Hispanic heritage and not, because it just says black. It just depends on how you identify.
No, you didn't say Spanish or Hispanic. I did. Like, because every time we say someone black, I throw my Hispanic people in there because they with us. So I just always throw them in as minorities.
Yeah, no, there are some, and there are some studies that do break that down. But according to the FBI, again, going by the census, it all depends on how the Hispanic wants to identify. Some identify as white, like George Zimmerman, for example, or you may have some Hispanics who, may say, "Hey, I'm Afro-Latina and I'm going to identify as Black." Cardi B. These are the questions that people have talked about many, many times. It just all depends on what you want to check the box for.
Gotcha.
Okay, that is front page news. We'll see you in a couple minutes, Tez.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open again. 800-585-1051. Hit us up right now. Get it off your chest. And Jocelyn Hernandez will be joining us next hour. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. All right, Jess Laris is here. Charlamagne's out for a day or two. And let's get in some front page news. Teslin Figueroa, good morning.
Good morning. I am back. Good morning.
All right. Just a quick sports. Porzingis went to the Celtics. Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies. All right. Now, Tyreek Hill, he also was allegedly slapped a man on the neck in a fishing boat altercation. So we'll see if charges are brought up against him. And Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz will be boxing August 5th in Dallas. This will be a 10-round fight. Now let's get to some news. Now, police say Idaho dad killed neighbors over alleged incident exposure by neighbor's oldest son. What happened here?
Yeah, this is a doozy here. So bear with me as I try to break this down as simple as I can. So an Idaho father, his name was Major John Kaler, killed a neighboring family because he was upset that the neighbor's 18-year-old son had reportedly exposed himself to the man's children. Now, I'm going to summarize this as best I can. There were two families, the Kalers and the Smiths. Now, they shared a duplex. And as you know, when you share a duplex, you share a yard.
Yeah.
The 18-year-old Devin Smith exposed himself in front of his bedroom window in view of Kaler's young daughters while they were playing in the yard several days before this past Sunday. And Sunday was the actual shooting incident. Now, the exposure incident was reported to the police, but while they were waiting on the investigation, this past Sunday on Father's Day, the two families got into an argument over how the allegation was being handled. Things escalated and Kaler shot two adults, which was the 65-year-old grandfather and the 41-year-old daughter. And then he shot them near the door. Then he went in the house and killed the two sons who were 18 and 16. So he's killed this entire family. Jesus. Now, his wife told the police that her husband warned authorities that if there was another indecent exposure, if that was to happen again, he was going to take care of it himself. Now, she interpreted that as, possibly beating up the guy. And so when after he killed all of the people, he gave his wife his wallet and said, "Make sure you know that tell the children that I protected them."
Damn.
So 4 people murdered as a result of this incident.
Damn.
Christ.
And now, what? Just a quick question. I know race has nothing to do with it, but I'm just curious. I'm always curious. Were they white? Were they black? Were they Asian? Were they Hispanic?
Yeah.
They were white. Well, I don't know the race of the victims, but the killer was a white guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a sad case because you would hope that the police would have been able to figure this out fast enough. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they wanted that young man to be locked up. But, as a father, not to say that I agree or that I'm saying that I would or anything like that, but if somebody exposes themselves to your child, sometimes you don't know what you would do. You know what I mean? Because you would think you look at your daughters or you look at your kids as so innocent and such little angels, and the fact that somebody is exposing himself will make you definitely, absolutely, positively wild out. Not wild out to the fact that you would go kill a whole family though, but it would definitely make you want to wild out where you want to put hands on somebody. But also you got to think it's an 18-year-old boy, and the fact that the 18-year-old boy is doing it, maybe he's having some problems. Maybe there's something wrong with him. Maybe he needs some help, So you got to kind of...
And they did say that. They did say that, just, and not to make excuses for, predator, but it was, they did say that he had some disability issues and had a hard time responding to social cues. And this particular couple also has shared previous memes about how to catch a predator and about, basically murdering somebody, if they were ever, so they were already hyper alert, on this. So I don't know. And again, I'm not alleging anything, speculation. I don't know if this had happened before,
right.
Because again, this is still developing. It just happened on Father's Day.
Wow.
So we don't know, has this been something recurring, what has happened, that made, him go all the way, to the edge with that. and I do want to just let people know what the charges are, because people may not have ever, heard of these type of charges, but he was charged with premeditated and or to execute vengeance. The other killings were allegedly premeditated to execute vengeance and or committed a burglary as well. Under Idaho law, burglary is entering a house or an apartment with an intent to commit a felony such as murder. And then, I got this for you also, because I know MD always asks me about the gun laws. And so in Idaho, you do not need a state permit to purchase or possess any rifle, shotgun, or handgun in the state. It is an open carry state. So anybody 18 and older can carry a weapon without a license, open or concealed, as long as they have not been banned from having a gun. So
now, question,
very interesting story here.
Would an insanity plea work here? I mean, because the fact that it's it's your kids and your family, and sometimes when somebody messes with your kids, you do turn black, and I mean not black as that, but you just wild out. Would an insanity plea even remotely work there?
Yeah, I mean, well, anything is possible, without knowing exactly what they're going to do. But I mean, you can pretty much say it's fair to say that, that this was something that just, made the guy snap. I don't know. But I think any good defense attorney is going to try to figure out some type of way, to see what they can do to get some type of relief, for the guy. But again, when you talk about killing all four, the grandfather and the mother and, the two kids, I don't know, how that's going to look. But it looks like this guy was pretty calm about it. He didn't run. He didn't whatever. He gave his wife his stuff and said, hey, it is what it is. Let him know I protected him. So seems that he's seems to be pretty like, hey, I'm standing on it. I did it, and that's that. Which a lot of fathers, I'm sure feel the same way. So this is one of those kind of stories. Like, how do you you can't really sympathize with the perpetrator, with the predator, if you will. But then as a parent, you like, I don't know, I mean, come to mind.
The first thing I know a lot of dads would be like, yeah, I would do the same thing. Nah, F that. But you also got to think about it. You make that permanent decision, and now you never see your kids again. Now you say you protect your kid in that one moment, but now who protects your kids for the next 30 years of their life?
Right.
Very sad case. Very sad case. Damn. All right.
Well, sorry I ended on that note, but
I was gonna say,
front
damn,
page
it just
news.
got so quiet.
All right. I mean, I'm thinking about that, and now the submarine, they have no more oxygen.
I know.
Envy is really committed to this submarine. Girl. It is a very interesting story, though. People were getting upset and say, why are y'all so into it? Because it's fascinating. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Damn. All right.
Sad.
All right. Well, thank you, Teslin Figueroa. Tell people where they can find you.
Find me on Instagram, Teslin Figueroa. I get it in with the comments, guys. You guys can come on my page, comment. Somebody's already commented this morning, upset about the stats. Yeah. So I do read the comments. We debate. And you can also follow me on my podcast, where I actually cover these stories and go into more detail on the Black Effect Podcast Network, Straight Shot No Chaser. Find me on Instagram, Teslin Figueroa.
All right. Now, when we come back, Jocelyn Hernandez will be joining us. We're going to kick it with Jocelyn. She got a lot going on. Yeah. And of course, our own Jess Hilarious was hanging out with her last night in the club.
Okay, all right. You didn't have to say that.
We'll talk to Jocelyn when we come back. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.